Okay, so today I'm going to continue my conversation about Derde Verde. So for the people who never came here, you must know that I started my channel to do videos about Hollis and Tok, and I did that during almost 4 years, and at a point I didn't have enough topics, subject, things to say, and I had to go to other topics. But I was kind of sad of not being able to talk about music, because music is what I love the most. If you can check my two previous videos, you will see how I landed on Derde Verde country. It was very spectacular and incredible adventure, and it still is. I mean, I'm at the beginning, I'm discovering right now, but I can say that every week I discover more and more and more, and more I discover, more I'm very happy. I'm very happy about what I hear, and actually I had the opportunity to hear a little thing from the new album, which is not released yet. And if all the album is like that, I can already say that they even got further and higher. So please stay put. Don't forget to subscribe if you are interested by this kind of topics. I like to go deep in the music, and I will explain to you why. And if you are really interested in that, subscribe, click on the bell, and you will be alerted every time I'm releasing a new video. I also want to say that not only I absolutely love Derde Verde's music, but I also appreciate a lot the spirit which is in the band. I mean, there is no conflicts. They work really well together. Dylan and Jonathan, they are very linked, and I like that there are no battles about the ego or things like that. I really like that. And also they are both of them, and maybe the other musicians, I don't know, but actually both of them are very dedicated to their music, to their work. They really work hard. They don't work short. They really do it really fully. And I not only appreciate that, but I admire that. I have a tendency to be a little like that myself, and when I see that, especially in young people like that, I really not only appreciate it, but I admire it and I respect it. So really, they deserve to be followed. And no, it is not a sponsored video. I'm not paid to say that. If I take the time to do videos about them, and I take the time to explain to you their music and everything around their music, I can tell you it's because I really believe in it. I'm absolutely sure, 100% sure, that there is something there. And if you are a Tok or Hollis fan, I can also tell you that you will appreciate Derde Verde. Not that they are exactly the same. No, it's not Tok bis. I never said that. It's just that they are inspired by Tok and Hollis somehow, and not only, and all the other inspirations are only things that I love. So of course I can only love. I'm very sincere in what I'm saying. I really believe in them. I admire them. I respect them. I'm amazed to see how young people can work hard, are dedicated to their work, to their music, and on the top of that are talented, and on the top of that are very nice, very polite, very humble, and I just love that. So music has always for me been an inspiration in my art. When I was a child, I was drawing and painting only by listening to music. Without music, I couldn't paint, I couldn't draw. I mean that the music, I was seeing images in the music, and I was translating what I was seeing on the paper. I still have memories right now of things that I was doing while listening to the music and trying really hard to translate on the paper or on the canvas what I was hearing in the music. And I always did it that way. I always put the music first, the art second, because without music, no art. So that's my way. I'm not saying that everybody has to be like that, but for me, it has always been music first. And also, of course, as my family was still is in music, I've been raised in that, so I couldn't ignore that it's in my genes somehow. So here is why I'm so interested in the music in general. All the musics don't give me images. I painted a lot about the Doors, about the Who, about Hollis, and when I was a child I was painting a lot around psychedelic music. So of course when I arrive on a band like Derde Verde, there is a lot of psychedelic in their music. There is some Tago, there is some Doors, there is some Who. Of course it brings me images. So images can be imaginary images, can be colors, it can be shapes, but it can also be memories. Sometimes music brings you old memories. It happens. So for them, we could say there is no risk that it brings some memories since it didn't exist when I was younger. It's the first time that now, these days, it's the first time that I'm hearing their music, so no memories. But actually it's the whole contrary. That's what I trying to explain in my videos, and I'm trying to find why their music brings me memories, and not only memories about the ambience and the feeling. No, very precise memories, things very precise, like if I was pulled back in the past in a very specific situation. So I don't get it. I don't understand how it is possible. Maybe the sounds, maybe the way they are playing. Dylan, when he sings, sometimes I feel that I'm hearing Mark, so of course it brings me to something else. I don't know. And I've always been also passionate about the power of the music. When I was painting about the Doors, I was talking and writing on my paintings a lot about the sacred. I'm not talking about religion here, it's not that, but I have the feeling that in the music there is something like a higher power coming from I don't know where. It brings us something sacred which is much bigger than us. And it's like music is a vehicle, it's a way to give access to us on something much bigger than what we are. It's what I think. I cannot prove it to you. I have no proof. I can only say what I feel and how I see it. That's why I'm amazed that young people like Derde Verde, like Dylan and Jonathan, manage to convey something which, according to me, comes from, I don't know, a higher self, something cosmic. I don't know. I cannot explain that, but that's what I want to try on my videos. Try to find out something, try to find an explanation, also for the love of the music, because anyway, even if there is no explanation, the music is still there and we still love it. And this music, I really love it. So I'm going to attend a show that they are doing on Wednesday the 12th. I will go. They are going mostly to play their new album. I want to hear that. You know, I'm in a situation where I basically listen to all their songs. I'm not bored. I mean, I can listen to them the whole day. I'm really enjoying them. More than that, I'm traveling with them, more exactly. But I need more. Actually, I need more. I'm in a situation where I'm completely addicted to this music at a point that my work start suffering from this love of this music. Last week I did stupid things. I am selling stuff online, and I was writing, instead of writing the description of an object, I was writing the lyrics on eBay. So which is of course not what I'm supposed to do. And this week I read a description that I did, and it had no sense, probably because my mind was on the music instead of on my work. So now I decided that I'm allowed to listen to their music only at a certain time, because before I really need to work. Anyway, all this to say that I will film the show, and at the show, hopefully I will be able to buy their CDs. So in the next video, I will show you, I'm sorry for the noise, I will show you their CDs. I will be able better to understand which song is where, which album is before which one, because I didn't get it yet. I really need to have something in my hands to understand. I know I'm supposed to empty my house and to try being minimalist, but when it's about music, it's really hard. It's like the books and CDs, no. Then I will be able to show you and which song is on which CD and what is going to be the name of the new album. Hopefully I will know, and I will be able to tell you. So today I'm going to talk about two songs, which are Mirror and Unnoticed. Actually three, because there is a little piece, the name is Telescope, and it's the intro to Mirror. So I will probably have to start with Telescope, then Mirror, then Unnoticed. So why I was thinking of Mirror and Unnoticed, which are quite different from each other, because these are two songs which created kind of weird situation in my everyday life. It seems that Target is the place to be, to listen to this music with earplugs and to really go deep in it and to be somewhere else and to end up in a kind of loose situation. I told the story last week about Unnoticed, when I ended up completely frozen in the middle of an alley at Target. When I think about it, it's strange. And Mirror, I was going out from Target and I had to sit on the bench. There was a lot of sun, all the fresh food which was in the sun, not the best thing to do. I really had to listen to Mirror deeply, sitting on the bench with my stuff in the cart, and I couldn't stop. I had to listen to every detail. So then I wanted to understand why these two songs created these situations. So I remembered, I said it in another video a very long time ago. I remembered that After the Flood had a similar effect on me. I was at the grocery store. I didn't have music on my ears. Nothing. I don't remember that there was some music playing in the store either. And I was in a corner of the store and some water was leaking like that. And suddenly I started singing in my head After the Flood, because we can hear some water in After the Flood. So it created the memory, and automatically I started singing in my mind After the Flood. And I don't know what happened, but 1 minute I was in this corner with the water leaking, and the next, when I realized where I was in front of the cashier, and I cannot remember what happened in between. Like if I had been hypnotized, I don't know how we say. I hypnosed myself by singing something in my mind. You know, usually I don't believe in these things, but that experience was kind of scary because I thought that I was losing my mind. But then, by listening to After the Flood, I realized that there was something hypnotic in this song. And I made a video about that. I will link it for you in my description box. And I realized that it was not the only Tok Tok song which was like that. A few ones. After all, you know, the shamans, they managed to go to trance, to be in trance through drums. So why not? I mean, it's not impossible. And actually my video had a lot of success because I was not the only one to think that. So I'm wondering, and that's why I want to talk about these two songs today, I'm wondering if Mirror and Unnoticed are not in this situation, because it's a little similar to what happened to me with After the Flood. Just an idea. I know I can sound completely crazy right now. You think, what is this crazy lady who speaks about hypnosis and music and craziness in the stores? But I can tell you, I'm absolutely sure that it's not crazy. I'm not a doctor. I cannot explain to you how things work. Maybe I should ask. I have a friend, her husband is doing hypnosis. It's his job. Maybe I should ask him, because there is something like that. Oh, and when I was painting on my painting Tomorrow Started, actually I was not listening at a point to Tok Tok. I was listening to Simple Minds, The Big Sleep. I remember I was listening to The Big Sleep by Simple Minds, and while I was painting, I felt like a blank and I was in another world. Also, when I was painting on the doors years ago, there are some paintings I cannot even remember how, when, and how I did them. It was like I was completely somewhere else by painting through the music. So you should pay attention to the songs I'm going to talk about now. So Telescope, Mirror intro. It's only 41 seconds, but it has to be played because it's a part of Mirror. Did you hear the kind of, I don't know what instrument it is. It makes me think of accordion, but maybe it's not. I'm sorry for the sound. The sound on my computer is terrible. I really suggest that you go and you listen to the music by yourself. I don't know what is this instrument. It makes me think that I would love to paint as they create music. I love when things are mixed, like in collage of different things, like mosaics of different things. I like everything which is not usual, which shows a form of research, which is bold. I like that. I don't like that. I love that. So the kind of sound you hear, I think it's the same sound that we hear in Mirror. That's why it's related. And anyway, we can already recognize Mirror in this piece. Okay, so I will jump directly to Mirror. You think of Mirror Man, for example. I think really that it's not randomly chosen. So you recognize Telescope. So you hear this kind of sound which is in the back. I don't know how it is made, what kind of sound it is. Probably a sample or a sound. But it makes me think of waves in the ocean. When I hear this part, I see myself on a beach with the water coming like that. And it's very sensual. It's terribly sensual and warm and very laid back and very soothing, very I don't know if I can say that, I don't want to shock anybody, but very sexy. Okay, so I continue. And you hear the drums are very soft and very smooth, nothing terrible. I mean, it's very, yes, it's very relaxing. And when I listen to that in my earplugs, walking in the street, I'm like, I'm somewhere else. I'm on the beach. I have the feeling to travel with their music. I'm traveling all over the places and I don't want to get out. I want to stay in this. And it's addictive, because I can tell you, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think is to go to listen to the music, and I can't, because I have some work to do, I have things to do. And if I start listening to that, I don't do anything else. I allow myself to listen to it in the shower. It's very I don't know how to explain that. It's, I mean, when you listen to this music, it invades you completely, and you cannot, there is no space anymore for anything else. If I can say it like that, it's what I feel. So you heard how it shifted in something else. Their music shifts all the time in different direction in the same song. One song is 5, 6, 7 different songs. And here we shifted in something else. So the sound, I tried to find what the sound was. At a point I was wondering if it was not a mellotron, but no, I checked. Mellotron is completely different, because I think that the Tok they use the mellotron at a point, but no, I think it's an organ or a keyboard, a sound of a keyboard, which is very typical of the 60s. When I hear that, I see myself in a studio, a musical studio, when I was a very small child, and I was running, because then we didn't have tracks. I mean, it was mono. All the musicians were playing in the same time. It's a very long time ago, and they were separated by partitions, so the sounds were not mixed together in the microphone. So they were playing together, and I remember running in a studio like that, and they were, I don't know, rehearsing before recording, and I remember a guy playing on a keyboard, I don't know which one it was, and it was exactly that sound. And I remember someone else playing the xylophone, you know, ding, ding, ding. It was very typical of the 60s. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that's really surprising, because even if their music is very related 60s, 70s, I was still surprised to hear that sound at that moment in that song, just after the beach and the waves and the very sensual situation. And suddenly, so I'm on the beach, and suddenly I'm in a studio. You see how it makes me jump from one place to the other. So listen to the guitars. Then we are with Tok. I found 2 songs by Tok when the guitars are not exactly the same. I'm not saying that they are copying, they are not copying, they are inspired. When I hear these guitars, I think of Mark right away. So I come from the beach to a recording studio in the 60s to Mark. I travel a lot. I love that. Do you hear his voice? So I must tell you a little story, another craziness coming from me. I was cooking, listening to this song on this, and this is, I don't know how we call that, genius. I'm not doing advertising for that, it's just that my older son bought that for me, and I can't believe how useful it is. I didn't think that I was going to use it, and actually I use it all the time. So, cooking, listening to young Mark, who is actually Dylan, listening to this specific song. So first the guitars, which reminds me of Mark, and suddenly he starts singing, and in my mind I say, why Mark is on this song? And suddenly I realize it's not Mark, it's Dylan. So I said, wow, okay, now I know why I love this music so much. They're really are inspired by Tok Tok. They don't copy, they have their own style. But there is a lot of Hollis Tok Tok in it, and also sometimes, not always, but sometimes Dylan's voice is very close to Mark's voice. Except that Mark was older, so it's an older voice, but the same range of voice. We must go back. Did you hear that? The beat changed again. They did it again. They did it on Tower. They did it again here. Well, I was very confused at the beginning, and I thought, am I crazy or what? And no. The beat is changing at a point, and then it's much more on the beat. I love that. Again, I love that. So it changed again. It's something else, and that's what I call, and it's only me, it's what I call the cowboy music. Because every time I hear something like that, it makes me think of a cowboy on a horse riding. I love that. But you see how it completely changed in a few minutes. You went through 4 different landscapes. I think it's amazing. And still it's coherent. It's one thing which makes you travel all over the place. So you heard there was like a moment, and then we arrive here. These are typically psychedelic guitars. You must also listen to the bass. Every instrument has to be detailed, has to be listened to, because it's exceptional how it is made. This song, again, it's a masterpiece. I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but these are masterpieces. And I was saying that about the songs last week that I commented, and here I am again. The cowboys again. Something else. How long till I am more? How long till I am more? I need more explanation. For the lyrics, I'm not going to talk about lyrics right now. I don't have them all right now. We will study the lyrics later. But how long till I am more? I really need more explanation. How long again till I am more? You hear the sound? So this sound, another episode completely crazy. First time I hear this song, I'm listening to this song. I was working on my computer, and the same morning my computer was playing weird, and when I heard that, I thought that it was my computer which had the problem again, and I was like turning my computer upside down, looking underneath to see if it was coming from the battery or what, and suddenly I realized it was coming from the song. It was funny. Listen. Did you hear the guitars? It's like saturated guitars. It makes me think a little of Robbie Krieger playing the guitar with a bottleneck, except that I don't think it's a bottleneck. I don't think it's a pedal wah-wah. Wah-wah. Do we say that in English, pedal wah-wah? Or maybe it's just an effect to saturate the guitars. Again, I have to ask so many questions in my mind. I love these guitars. It has something very psychedelic also. Listen to the guitar. How long till I am more? I love that. And the hi-hat, a bit. The drums are very intricate. Listen until the end. It's not done yet. Now it's done. I just want to say that this piece, this track, has different phases, which seems quite different one from the other, but it's coherent. I mean, it makes a whole. Everything works perfectly. I mean, the transition from one thing to the other, it's not cut just like that. It's mixed together and it goes from one thing to the other without you realizing that you are on something else, and sometimes it's superposed one on the other. The guitars are great, the bass is great, the drums are exceptional. Here, what I'm hearing here, the sound is really bad, but I really recommend that you listen to that with earplugs and really you listen to that deeply, and listen to the voice also, which reminds me of Mark. Not only, I mean, I had a kind of blank in my mind during a few seconds. I thought that Mark was singing, but once you know that it's not Mark, and once you listen to it more and more, no, you can see the difference. I could say that it's one of my favorite songs in their songs. The problem is that I love all their songs, so I cannot say it's my favorite, but I really love it. Really love it. Sometimes I listen to it 10 times in a row, so much I love it. I really love it. In the case you wouldn't have understood what I'm saying, I love it. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to go to Unnoticed, which is completely different. So just this sound makes me think of Tago Mago can. I don't know why. When I hear this sound, Tago Mago. So maybe it has nothing to do with it, but it's in my mind. I see that. The guitars. Why this song had such an effect on me while I was at Target? Because not only it brings me images, but also it brings me memories. I see myself in the past, somewhere in London. I'm from Paris, but I was going very often to London. I can't explain, it's more, I see myself there. I see a metallic fence or gate, black. I have images like that coming to me, and when I listen to this song, I'm like thrown, like sent to this other place, which comes from my memory, probably something that I have in my mind somewhere, and pops out when I hear this guitar. Why? I don't know. And that's probably why I was frozen. Well, actually I was frozen a little later in the song. I will tell you where. At Target, because suddenly I was like, where am I? It was weird for me to hear that and feeling like if I was in another space. And always this weird sound in the background. I wish sometimes I could go unnoticed. This is totally different when he starts singing. I thought of what? I thought about The Who. I'm more thinking about what came before Who's Next. I painted so much about The Who, and especially about Keith Moon, but it doesn't mean that I only love Keith Moon. I love all of them. If you like The Who, take the time to listen to what John Entwistle used to compose, because I know that he made several albums alone, and it's really good actually. I recommend, because I was listening to that this morning and I thought I must tell you that I recommend that you go to listen to the Isle of Wight, 1970, The Who, the song Naked Eye. At a point, it's just the guitar, and only the guitar, electrical guitar, silence in the audience. And it's a pity because in the US we cannot see the images anymore, but I saw I think I have the DVD. We see Pete Townsend playing, and it's the night already, but there are the lights on him, so we can see him like a shadow. With the lights. I remember this image because I made a painting about it, but anyway. He's playing in this silence, and there is something magic in that. Magic. This specific moment is what I call like a sacred moment in music. I'm sorry, I must feed my cat and we go back. T'as mangé? T'as mangé? It's a pity because you just hear it with a very bad sound, but with the image and the sound. You know, one of my biggest regrets in life is not to have been at the Festival of Wight in 1970. I was way too young. My parents would have never let me go. I was a child. This is ridiculous. But I grew up regretting not to be at the Isle of Wight in 1970. And I would have loved to see that, to hear that. And there is these moments where the music is in connection with what you see, and the ambience and the lights and the sun, or not the sun because it was the night then, and wow, it's like magic, it's sacred. Suddenly you are somewhere else. So I was talking about the Who. It's not the subject today. I was talking about the Who because in Unnoticed, this part makes me think of the Who, rather the beginning of the Who. They used to have these little melodies, what I call it's only me, I call that the innocent ballads, you know, like it's almost for children, these cute little melodies which are very typical of the Who, and I'm not saying it's exactly the same, no, but it's a little in the same spirit, and when I heard that, it made me think of the Who. So that's fine, because as I was in London in front of my black grid, metallic grid, the Who, they come from England, so it's kind of related. So what he does at the guitar here, it's, according to me, I may be wrong, I'm not very good to give names on styles, but for me it's rather folk. I'm not myself. I can tell you when I listen to that in the earplugs, I'm not myself. But really, so when I hear I'm not myself, yeah, that's right, I'm not myself anymore when I hear that. You are like floating in another dimension. I'm someone else. There is kind of a delay on the voice. You hear the sounds behind? Wow, it's hot. And here, it's when I started being frozen in the middle of Target. Why? Oh, the sound, the guitar. It's the guitar which is... I love the melody. It's very spacey. And listen to the sounds. the drums. And they are not on the beat. And there is the sound. There are three things, one on each other. That is very Can. Very Mark. I don't know. And hear the bass. And now we are in Clutch. I was talking about Clutch last week. There is a lot of Can, Tago, Mago in this also, not only The Who, not only Mark, Hollis. When I was listening to that with the earplugs in Target, I was gone, bye-bye, you know, I was somewhere else. There is something in this song, and I went back to listen to After the Flood. I'm wondering if there is not something with After the Flood as well. I don't know. It gives me a very strange feeling, this song. For example, if I had to make a painting about this song, I would have to make at least 4 or 5 different things, and I should be able to combine them together so it makes a whole. It's kind of complicated. So I don't know if you understand, if you see the work put in this music. It's really deeply thought of. Everything is thought carefully. It reminds me the way of working, Mark's way of working again. I really hope that you appreciate what I'm talking about. For me, music, it's number one. Music comes even much more before art. I mean, I can live without painting. I've been living during a very long time without painting. I'm not really painting right now, but I cannot live without music. Before starting to listen to Derde Verde, I couldn't really listen to music anymore because of Mark's death. I was so depressed that I didn't really want to listen to music. I tried to listen to Sade at a point because I thought it's something that I was listening to before Talk Talk, and I knew Sade before knowing Talk Talk, so I thought maybe it's going to remove the pain. It doesn't. We cannot always escape the pain. Unfortunately, pain is a part of life and we must deal with it. So I forced myself this whole week to listen to different musics, including Talk Talk. I had to listen to Laughing Stock and Spirit of Eden for Mirror to make a comparison, and it was really hard. I basically cried during 2 days, but I cannot stop listening to music because life without music is not life. It's not a life. And I did it, and I'm glad that I did, because of course I love Talk Talk music. In the case you wouldn't know yet, I confirm. But I also love Derde Verde's music, and I feel so honored and so grateful and so lucky to be able to watch them working, evolving, creating and playing in front of me now. It's such a chance for all of us, and that's why I want to share it with you, because I don't want to keep that only for myself. I really need to share it with you, so I really hope that you will love them as much as I do. I really love their music, and I wouldn't talk about them if I didn't. And I really want to encourage them because they are very young. They are my son's age. My son makes music too. I love his music too, of course. I don't promote his music, first because my son doesn't want so much his mommy to be involved. Second, I cannot convince you to love my son's music, because then you are going to say, hello, it's your son. You know. But Dylan is not my son, Jonathan is not my son. They are just young people, very professional, very talented, hard workers. It's what I love the most. They give us a lot, so I cannot not talk about them. So here is what I'm doing, and I will continue. I hope that you are going to travel with me in there, Fantasyland. By the way, thank you for all your so kind messages that I got on YouTube, but also on other social media. I had so many lovely messages and touching. Really, I thank you. I was really happy to see that there was some reaction and that what I was sharing was appreciated by you. So thank you for that. And I see you in my next video. Bye bye.